Hi there guys, I hope you have had a good day. Now, Daniel Dubois versus Joe Joyce now has a date, November 28th, and the interesting thing about this, it is going to be on that date, BT Sport 1, not pay-per-view. The fight has been announced, European and British Commonwealth titles on the line, but it will not be pay-per-view, which is a very solid statement considering Sky Sports are going to have 4 heavyweight pay-per-views in the latter half of this year. So what a statement from BT Sports for bringing this fight to us and not with a pay-per-view. So obviously this fight kind of will get a lot more views than maybe Alexander Usyk versus Derek Chisora and Dillian Whyte versus Alexander Povetkin too, just because it's on that platform, BT Sports 1, not pay-per-view. Now obviously that is because there are so many other pay-per-views in and around that time. So the only way they can make this fight happen in November or December is realistically to not put it on pay-per-view, because there are so many of them around that time, and it's great for the fight fan to be able to watch this kind of content without a pay-per-view price attached to it. Now obviously the fighters would have had to take less money, but ultimately I think that is just a statement from BT Sports. These big fights will still happen regardless of what is happening economically, because these big fights are there for Daniel Dubois and Joe Joyce, for them to move on. Their career stagnates if they do not have them. They can take easy fights in the interim while crowds are coming back, but ultimately how long is that going to be? So their careers cannot be allowed to be put on hold while that happens. I mean, Joe Joyce, he's being fast-tracked anyway, and he was out of the ring for an extremely long time because of lockdown and all things like that, so he has to move fast. These fights are very important for him. Daniel Dubois, he has a bit more time, but he doesn't want to wait, which is great. And I think we will all agree that this fight was one that we were extremely interested in anyway. We were going to try and watch it no matter what happens, but now there's no pay-per-view bracket attached to it. Now they're going to get a lot more views for this fight, a lot more interest, and a lot more exposure for the fighters. Let's not forget about that, because if this was a pay-per-view, maybe it wouldn't do so many numbers. Obviously they'd make more money, but ultimately they're getting more exposure for their fighters because it's on that network, on BT Sports 1. Personally, I think that this is a great move from BT Sports, especially considering there are so many pay-per-views in the back end of this year. So many pay-per-views that fight fans aren't going to be able to watch all of them. So if they added another one to that, then it just makes it kind of ridiculous. How can we watch all of these mega events in the same space of time, especially with Christmas coming up as well? But this is certainly a Christmas present delivered to fight fans, and also what it does, as I explained, is there will definitely be a lot more fans watching. There will be a lot more outside fans and casual fans watching this fight because it will be on. They will not have to pay through a pay-per-view barrier in order to watch this fight, so it will be there, so many more fans will be watching it, meaning more exposure for both fighters. The only thing they can hope for now is a great fight, and I think that we will definitely get that, because for Joe Joyce, he cannot afford a slip up here. He needs to remain on this track towards a world title fight because he's been fast-tracked since he turned pro. Daniel Dubois, not so much, but again, he still wants his opportunity. He's number 2 ranked within the WBO, so he will get a world title opportunity. Maybe not next year, but the year after, definitely. And if Anthony Joshua vacates that title, then he fights for the vacant title against Alexander Usyk. Joe Joyce will also be looking at that and thinking, if I beat Daniel Dubois, do I get that number 2 spot? Do I fight for the vacant world title against Usyk? So that's a world title opportunity on the line, potentially, for the winner of this fight. So stakes are risen high, and their profiles will be risen even higher after this fight. All I can say is this is a brilliant move from BT Sports for fight fans, for their fighters, and I think that this is going to work. I think that this is a brilliant thing to do, especially for everyone involved. I know that maybe the fighters are going to have to take a little bit less money, but they were going to anyway, and can they hold up a pay-per-view with all of these other pay-per-views around them? They are breaking the mold by doing something different for their fans and for their fighters, because obviously they will still have to make up some of the purse, so they are paying their fighters a good purse to still fight on this platform. Guys, Commonwealth, European, British titles on the line. Joe Joyce versus Daniel Dubois, 28th of November. No pay-per-view. Brilliant news. Guys, anyway, drop your thoughts on this in the comments below. Leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you are new. Thanks, guys.